and begin.
Yes, let's. Because this is the story of a young man named Leigh Whannell, who burst onto the scene with his sharp, suspenseful writing. His knack for intense storytelling and gripping plot twists set a high bar in the horror genre.
The more stressed someone tells me they were, the more I ruined their night or even their week, the happier I am.
Born in Melbourne, Australia, Whannell started out as a film student with a passion for storytelling. He got his break in 2004 with Saw, a low-budget horror film he co-wrote and starred in alongside his longtime friend and collaborator James Wan.
I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to play the lead character. It was a very independent film. You know, James and I were trying to make this movie to actualize our lives. At that time, I was a screenwriter, but I also liked acting. James was this obsessive director. So the whole thing was about us. It was that story you hear, like Sylvester Stallone with Rocky or something, where somebody sort of takes their future into their own hands by creating the opportunity rather than waiting for it, you know? Which sounds like a self-help video, but that's what we did.
What started as a small indie project exploded into a global phenomenon, birthing a franchise and redefining modern horror. Along the way, inspiring a new generation of directors.
I do meet some young filmmakers who will say to me, I grew up on Saw, and now they're making horror movies, and that's really trippy. It's one thing to meet a fan, but it's another thing to meet a working director, a working filmmaker who's like, I grew up with Saw, such an inspiration.
Whannell spent the next decade cementing his status as a screenwriter, crafting scripts for films like Dead Silence and the Insidious franchise, about a family being haunted by ghosts.
So it's kind of a haunted house film filtered through our sensibility, the sensibility of the Saw guys, the guys who brought you a talking puppet on a tricycle.
But eventually he wasn't content to just stay behind the keyboard. Leigh's directorial debut came in 2015 with Insidious Chapter 3, proving he could handle the director's chair just as well as he handles a script.
Usually when you're a screenwriter, you're like, the end. And then you hand it off and somebody's like, thank you very much, see you later, goodbye. Don't let him into the building. So it was nice as a writer to be like, the end. Oh, now I get to, choose the colors of the wall and what people are wearing, and it's a great extension of writing.
His true breakout as a director, though, came in 2018 with Upgrade starring Logan Marshall Green, which eventually also landed Whannell in the director's seat for The Invisible Man. 3, 2, 1, go! The Invisible Man was incredibly well received, a psychological horror thriller that reimagined a classic Universal monster for the modern age. Swapping out gothic horror for gaslighting and tech-driven terror, Whannell's take was a critical and commercial success, proving he could deliver both scares and smart, socially relevant storytelling.
What I wanted to do is make The Invisible Man scary again. I feel like it's been a long time since he was scary. I'm sure when the original 1933 movie came out, it was scary and shocking to those audiences. But we can't view it in the same way anymore. It's just too long ago. Modern audiences don't look at that film with the same fear and terror. So I wanted to make the character scary and kind of take the character back to his roots, which is just all out terror.
Another classic monster he re-envisioned was the Wolfman, and bringing them back for a modern audience was a dream come true.
They're just in there. I just love them.
Leigh Whannell is now a filmmaker in high demand. Whether he's writing, directing, or producing, one thing is clear: he's not just making movies, he's building worlds, breaking rules, and keeping audiences on the edge of their seats.